Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to this episode today with beautiful Melissa. I am Stella, your guide, and I am your host here on this channel, Intuitive Creators Spotlight. Here we have beautiful guests sharing insights and their stories because we truly believe that everyone has a story and every story is inspiring. So today we have Melissa here. She is a soul mentor who is helping individuals uncover depths of their true selves and navigate their soul-led life. Welcome, Melissa. I am so excited to have you here. And I just want to ask you, what is it, something exciting that's going on in your life and business at the moment?
Well, thank you for having me, Stella. I think the life of a entrepreneur or a soulpreneur is always very exciting because there's always something that's being delivered that wants to be shared with the world. I think for me, it's super exciting because for 7 years, I think I've been working with the Akashic Records, which are this field of energy that contains everything that you are as a soul. And finally, after many requests, I am just about to launch a 12-month program to help people read their own records and read records of their clients. So that's all just coming together at the moment. And yeah, I'm super stoked about where that's heading.
That's so exciting, and I can feel your energy as well, which speaks volumes because it's clear that you're very passionate about this. And I know that Akashic Records was something that you connected with at the beginning of your journey, of like spiritual journey or your awakening journey. And I would love for you, if you would like to share it with our audience, what is it that attracted you to this field, to Akashic Records, and what was something that really excited you about it at the beginning?
Well, I learned Reiki back in 2008, and it was like nearly, what was it, 8 years later that the Akashic Records kind of fell onto my lap. I'd never heard of them. I didn't know what they were. They were not in my awareness whatsoever. And a series of encounters and synchronicities led me to having this reading in the records, and I had no idea what to expect. And when the records were open for me, I was having some very real, visceral, intense experiences from the moment they opened. And it was actually in that quite long, it was about 2.5 hour session, that I received the guidance from in there that I should be working in the records. And I was like, no, I didn't even know what they were yesterday. So how can that be? But very quickly, things started to progress. And I was finding that with the work I was doing in there, and I was working with somebody else at the time, I was releasing a lot of the kind of stagnant stuff that I didn't even know that I was holding. I was activating more into my role. I was like believing in myself more. I was finding myself taking action quicker without even kind of thinking about it. And very quickly after that first session, I suddenly found myself teaching Reiki. I've been doing it for a long time and I hadn't taught it yet, but literally within weeks, I was teaching Reiki. I was leading psychic development circles. I was running the Reiki shares. Like, all these things started to happen. And if I track it all the way back, it was from that moment that my records were opened. And so for me, that gave me a real curiosity as to, well, what are they and what's involved and how can I work with them? And there wasn't really tons of information out there at the time. And so, which was probably good. I read everything that I could get my hands on, and I did the programs and listened to the guidance things and kept opening my records like a lot. And yeah, and I just kept on discovering things. And even to this day, I've read, I don't even know, hundreds of records and guided, I don't even know, probably thousands of people through their records. and still they blow me away. Still, I'm like, how?
I think that's the beautiful part about it, because, there is always something else, something new. And I find it fascinating how, you then connect with your clients and you see that there is not a coincidence that specific type of clients are drawn to you, to what you're doing, and guiding them through. So, if we have people who are watching us who have never heard of Akashic Records before, if you were to describe, like, briefly, what is it that is Akashic Records, in like a sentence or description, or whatever it is that you want to share with us?
Sum all the mysteries of life down into one sentence. So they're really the book of your life, but more than that, they're the book of your soul, and they contain everything that you as a soul, so in this incarnation and any previous, everything that you have ever said or done or thought or desired, and they are a living field that are consistently guiding you and recording everything that you're doing, like even right now.
Incredible. I feel honored, I feel honored that we will have this very moment recorded there somewhere in our Akashic Records. And of course, maybe we lived many, many lives before. I know I have, because I believe in past lives, and we'll probably come back here again. So let's say, for example, if somebody said or did something that they are not very happy or proud of, can they go back and heal that? And if so, how is this happening, and how is this changing their present moment?
Right, that's a brilliant question. So I'm gonna just preface this with, the records are held by this series of guides, teachers, if you like, who hold the records with no judgment, with full compassion, with love, with understanding. And so everything that's in there is in there under that presence. Okay. But naturally we do things in life that, we're not necessarily proud of, we wish that we could have changed. And that's true for what we remember, and also true for what we don't. And this can be held back through the lives that we have lived before, or even maybe through the unconscious, or through our ancestry. Who knows where all of this information is originated from. Can we go back? Absolutely. And we do go back. We go back every day. When we've done, especially if we've done something that we feel bad about, what happens? We think about it all the time. We put more guilt on it. We put more shame on it. We're like, how could I do this? We tell all of our friends about, and we try and blame the other person. We keep creating those same stories. And from an Akashic point of view, it means that we keep on writing that same record. Yeah, I did it once, I wrote it once, but now I've written it 1,000 times more, because it's been on my mind and I've been, considering it and feeling guilty about it. When we go back and understand it from an Akashic point of view, or go back and look at it from that field, that guilt and that shame aren't the main energies that are holding it. We can understand the guilt and shame and be like, okay, well, I did this and I felt shame, but it's presented to you in love, which is a very different energy. And even that alone, even just going, okay, well, I did that, and now I can understand why I did that and the impact that had. But I'm looking back at it with acceptance and love and understanding. What that does is it changes the energy that is holding it. And so now when it comes back into your present memory, if it does come back into your present memory, it's not that kind of, if you think of guilt and shame as a heavy weight that keeps pulling you, like if it was on a thread, it would kind of keep pulling this thread. It's not there anymore. It's just a thing that happened. And now I can act knowing that it happened, but without having to keep on rewriting that story of guilt and shame.
I love it. That's such a brilliant explanation, Melissa, because what you've shared here is this idea that we can be aware of the things that happened in the past, or even now, or in the future, but we don't have to continue to kind of drain our energy and give our energy to those things all the time. And yeah, I just loved how you explained that we are held, in love, and, in that space out there, we are not being judged as we know the judgment here in the human experience.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing this. Is this part of what attracted you to the Akashic Records? Is it the healing part? Is it the mystical part? Because I know there is a lot about like the mystical things. Is it anything else? What attracted you to them?
I think part of my mission here on earth is to help help us utilize the skills of, empathy and, like our coaching skills and our healing skills and our psychic skills and our intuitive skills to help them bring a different level of understanding. So, we may be psychic intuitive and we can use that in a number of different ways. And for me, what I'm seeing is there's this new wave of healers and readers that are coming out there that are coaching, healing, guiding in a more therapeutic way. We're doing this for the evolution of self. We're doing this for the evolution of humanity. And for me, I don't think I knew that at the time. I think at the time it was like this compulsion that I just wanted to know. And it was so fascinating that and it kept on delivering more and more. So maybe it was the mystical aspect of it at the beginning. I mean, they just sound mystical, don't they? The Akashic Records.
Yeah.
The Akashic, some people call them, or the Akashic, depends where you come from. But I think that what's really landed me in and why it's been so consistent with the hundreds of other therapies that I'm trained in, right? Why that's been so consistent is because, first of all, it contains the thread for everything. It helps me understand why the law of attraction works and why it doesn't work. It helps me understand, why, different therapies have the impact that they have. It helps me understand the world of energy. But most of all, it helps really ground into this more ethical and intuitive and healing approach to everything that we do.
Yeah, and the healing power is just incredible because it just spreads. This energy spreads, and as we're doing our own healing, we also contribute to the healing of so many other people as well. So I know that you are the author of an amazing, beautiful book that is out there for everyone. If you want to check out the links in the description of this video, Memoirs of a Mystic in Training. And I feel like asking you, Melissa, when you wrote that book, do you feel you have connected with that space in the Akashic Records while writing it? Yeah. And how did you get the inspiration to write it?
Oh, I just got goosebumps when you said that. Yes, I don't think I consciously thought, well, I didn't consciously think I'm going to open the Akashic Records, I'm going to read my book. However, my book is the story of my life and how, it's not the story of my life, it's the story of how I navigated through all of the spiritual and mystical and energetic things that were going on around me, and the things that I understood and the things that were presented to me and the questions that I had and all of this stuff. Now, as I was writing it, and it really was a compulsion, I opened up my laptop to a blank page and I just started writing. And what I found is that memories were coming up from me that I didn't remember, they were kind of long gone, but then they would come up. But what was very interesting for me reading it back was I can hear, or I can feel in my energy, this remembrance through that energy of compassion and love and understanding. And so actually for me, writing the book was super healing, because I was going back, and where there was things at the time I was in confusion or despair or like misunderstanding or whatever, that actually as I was going back and remembering them, reliving them even in my mind and sharing those words on the page, the energy was beginning to change. And also the whole point of this book wasn't just for my healing, it was so that people can read it and gain their own healing and their own insights and ask their own questions and have their own understanding. And so somehow it helped the experience that I went through. It kind of made sense now, because now that can help somebody else. And they have. And that's the feedback that I've had a lot. Like, oh, you've made me understand this or think about this more, or kind of give that healing to that aspect of me in actually a very easy way. It, you know, if you've read the book, it's very kind of easy to read. It, you know, can, like, you could suck it up in you know, a week. So yeah, I think looking back, I read it and I don't remember writing many of the words, or people say, oh, I love this quote, and I'm like, did I write that? I don't remember writing that. So yeah, it came from somewhere, which wasn't just from my head space.
It was from your inner wisdom connected with the universe. And I like to believe that we are co-creators, you know, and it's when we share information in any kind of way, it's us tuning into everything that is within and around us as well. And that's, you know, as you were sharing your thoughts about and your experience about writing your book, a thought came to me that in this kind of work that we're doing and spiritual guidance, connecting with so many people, guiding them through their journey as well, do you feel that you often experience your own journey of healing as you're doing that work too?
Yeah.
Because I know you said you have experienced some healing while writing the book, but do you also feel like you're experiencing this kind of healing in your work with people?
Yeah, 1000%. There's, you know, again, working in the Akashic field, you begin to understand how there are similarities with everything. And one of the things that I discovered is that all of us have been all the things. We've been all the sides of all the coins. Yeah, we've been the victim and we've been the perpetrator. We've been, you know, like, we've been everything. And so it's kind of, also what I understand is that me as a soul, and here I am, and I've got my unique skills and sets of circumstances, and somebody there has got their unique sets and circumstances, and they might put a call out there like, I need help with something. Now, why do I hear it and not you? Or why do you hear it and not me? It's because we are placed with that understanding, with the skills, with the whatever it is that connects those two things, those two people, those two circumstances together. So it only makes sense that when I connect with a client, or you connect with a client, there's some synchronicity and an understanding in there. There's a gelling in there. Otherwise, you'd have gone somewhere else. There's thousands of healers and guides and coaches and opportunities around the world, right? A million things can happen, but here we are together. And so for me, that makes sense. And I'll often find, if I'm doing a guidance session with somebody, or I'm doing some healing work through my therapy sessions, that a question comes up or a circumstance comes up, and I'm drawing from my experience, and therefore it's healing back whatever it was that I'm doing, or I hear myself saying something and I think, take note. That's one for you as well, because there is no coincidence. But on top of that, from an energetic point of view, on top of that, if you're truly in that connection with what your higher self, or with the angelics, when I started doing readings, it was mainly the angelics that I was bringing that energy through from. Just like if you're doing something like Reiki, you might be channeling the Reiki, but the Reiki or the angelics or the higher self is moving through your body. And so you can't help, if that's where you're drawing the energy from, you can't help but receive that. And so you are going to have your own healing experiences as you're doing the work.
Thank you so much for explaining this. And you touched a very important point as you were sharing your thoughts here. The fact that there is not a coincidence that specific clients will feel drawn to specific guides or advisors or healers. And I love that you mentioned this, because I also truly believe that there is not such a thing as competition in terms of, you know, she has the same energy as mine, or she works with the same tools as mine, because we all have such a special type of blueprint, or, you know, energetic blueprint, that, you know, we are not for everyone, and not everyone is for us. And so yes, there is competition in terms of like, there are so many, and it's a competition if this is how you want to look at it. But if you look at things, if you zoom out, you understand that out of thousands and thousands of readers or guides, if you can scroll through those names, there will be one or two that you feel mostly drawn to. What do you think that is? Like, what makes people feel connected to specific people or guides or healers?
Another great question, Stella. And people might be watching this thinking, oh, well, you know, Stella does her amazing work, and why is she inviting other healers on there? Because maybe, you know, but this is all part of this new wave of healers that are coming through. And this is, and as we demonstrate this, this is going to change how people do their work. So I'm going to say this I'm not sure it's quite answering your question, but let's go here. This is why it's so important that we stand in who we are, that I don't try and be like you. This is why I need to stand in me, fully me. And I need to own all of that stuff, and I need to post out my stuff on social media or come and talk on things like that and be me. Because if I'm truly me, then the people that I am here to help will feel that, know that, listen to that, turn it on, put the right thing in the search engine, but only if I'm truly standing as me. If I try and be a second-rate version of you, then my soul clients aren't going to be able to find me, because I'm not showing up as truly who I am.
Oh, you're speaking my language, Melissa. I just love your explanation, because yes, only when we are in our own strength, power, energy, when we're in our own truth, which can take years to find and connect with our own truth, and it's a continuous journey. But when we find that space within ourselves and connect with that, then there is no feeling of like, oh, I need to compete with this and that person. So thank you so much for explaining this. Now, before we get to the end of this video, I feel inspired to ask you for you to share with anyone who's watching us, what daily practices or rituals do you follow to make sure that you stay connected with your soul's guidance?
Okay, there's a few things, and it's nothing very complicated. Every day I just make sure that I'm managing my energy. So I just have an awareness that I'm an energetic being. Start there. I'm an energetic being. What do I need to do? What am I drawing my energy from? And so I have a thing where I declare I'm connecting to my highest power, wholly, fully, and completely, and imagine that energy of my soul, or, you know, this kind of light is emanating out and acting like a force field. That is my like non-negotiable. I'm doing that every day. But maybe more importantly, having that awareness that at all moments we're writing in our Akashic records. No matter what I'm doing, whether I'm doing my spiritual work, I'm on retreat, I'm doing my yoga, I am talking about this, doesn't matter what I'm doing, even if I'm doing the washing up, I am constantly writing in my Akashic records. By me just knowing that, it brings this awareness of what am I writing, so therefore what am I creating? And that doesn't mean that I'm the mind police, but it does bring this level of what's my stasis with my vibration. You bring that into your awareness, you will keep on raising it and not falling into your own stories that don't make sense anymore.
Yeah, because some stories need to kind of dissolve at some point, like just we have to let go of them, and that can lift up a lot of like heaviness from our shoulders sometimes. So thank you so much for sharing that. And Melissa, to everyone who's watching us, if you want to share some inspiration, a thought that just comes to you now, maybe you are connecting now or channeling from the universal power, something that you feel those who are watching us need to hear, right now? Please share.
Thank you. Everybody, even you listening, everybody has their own unique stories, their own unique talents, and their own unique challenges. Your job is to understand what they are and then work with them. I believe that we are here for 3 reasons. The first one is for our evolution. How do we know ourselves? How do we love ourselves? How do we accept ourselves? And how do we keep on moving up? We do that, that takes us to our second purpose, which is to create an impact with the people and the environment around you. You do number 1, you will naturally do number 2. Yeah, you will be yourself, like we spoke about earlier. The person that needs you will find you, which then leads to purpose number 3, which is to create an impact in the world. You do the first 2, you will by default make the world a better place. But if you do it that way round, you'll be doing it in the way that serves you the best.
Oh, thank you so much for this message, Melissa. I will surely watch this video again and again, as I love to watch my videos with my guests, because I find these stories incredibly inspiring. And I believe that there will be someone watching this video thinking this is exactly what I needed to hear. And if you feel that way, if you're watching us and you feel that way, please make sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and ring the notification bell. We will share all the links in the description of this video, the links that will connect you with Melissa and everything that she creates and created. And I will also share my gift with you. It's a master practitioner checklist, a free guide that will help you understand how people connect with you, what makes them want to come into your world and ultimately want to work with you. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this video, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.